The Miami Heat are the first seed in the Eastern Conference at the recording of this video, and when you talk about the contenders in the East, it's usually Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and Brooklyn that is brought up before you get to the team of the Miami Heat, which is kind of tough because they're the first seed in the East, but it seems like a lot of people don't take them seriously as real threats to the Bucks, Nets, or the Sixers. And in today's video, I want to address the Miami Heat and if they're legit contenders or pretenders in the Eastern Conference. But without further ado, make sure you drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and press that bell for post notifications. When you look at this Miami Heat team, they've had a really solid season overall. Of course, like I said earlier, they're the 1 seed, but when you look at the players on the roster, they're stepping up in every way imaginable. On the defensive side of the ball, they've been missing their best defender in Bam Adebayo for a good portion of the year, and they've still managed to be one of the top 10 defenses in the NBA. Players like Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, they were expected to contribute on defense, but in addition, you got guys like PJ Tucker and Caleb Martin that are also contributing defensively. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they're one of the league's best when it comes to offensive rating, as they rank in the top 10. And just like defensively, they've lost a lot of players offensively for a good portion of the season. Jimmy Butler has missed a good part of the year, especially earlier on, and in the games that he doesn't play, as a side note, they are 12-7. Talk about holding down the fort without your best player. And it's crazy because other guys have stepped up as well. Jimmy has had a great season, don't get me wrong, but the rest of the roster has more than contributed. Kyle Lowry is a great playmaker and his impact goes beyond the stat sheet, as we all know. PJ Tucker is having one of the best shooting years of his career, shooting 54% from 3. Bam Adebayo has been a solid ball handler for them in the high post. He can do that two-man action with the shooters that they have. And though Duncan Robinson has been somewhat of a disappointment this year, Tyler Hero has had a breakout season. He's averaging 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, while doing it on 43, 38, and 86 shooting splits. And it isn't just the starters. The role players are also stepping up this year. Players like Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, who's shooting 40% on 6 attempts, insane percentage from behind the arc. This Heat team collectively has been one of the most sound teams in the NBA, and it's proven with the way that they are able to maintain their level of play despite losing multiple players for good chunks of the season. And also big props to Eric Spoelstra. He's one of the best coaches in the NBA and does not get his just due. The zone defensive schemes that him and Pat Riley have brought back into the NBA have been a huge breath of fresh air for the league. So when you look at this Miami Heat team, it's very obvious that they are a formidable roster. They have a star player in Jimmy Butler, they have an offense that's efficient, and they have one of the best defenses in the league. Isn't that what you need to win a championship in the NBA? Well, yes and no. For starters, when it comes down to teams that have only one star on the roster, usually those teams are very deep, and the Heat are very deep, I'll give them that. But in the case of somebody like a Kawhi Leonard in 2019, the level that Kawhi Leonard was playing at was arguably the best player in the NBA, and that was an all-time level as well. And as good as Jimmy Butler is, not only is he not in the convo for the best player in the league, but he's not even a top 10 player in my personal opinion. And then when you consider the fact that the playoffs really comes down to star talent, they don't have the star talent to match up with a lot of other teams in the East. As much as I like Bam Adebayo and Kyle Lowry, I don't view them as top 20 players in the NBA. And I would even go as far as to say neither of them are top 25 players in the league right now. Meanwhile, when you look at teams like the Sixers, they have Joel Embiid and James Harden. Then when you look at the Nets, they have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. In the case of the Bucks, they have Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. And hell, if you want to throw the Celtics in this conversation because of the hot streak they've been on recently, then be my guest, because Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are indeed 2-star caliber players that I would deem top 20 players, or at least top 25 players in the league. Now I know the typical response from Heat fans is going to be, well, look at how we made the finals in 2020. Jimmy Butler was playing at this historic level for his career. Why can't he replicate that and we can get back to the championship? Well, for starters, we have to take into account that the bubble was the bubble. Let's just be honest here. The shooting boost that Jimmy Butler and other players on the Miami Heat were receiving due to the environment is not something that's going to happen in these playoffs, obviously. Jimmy Butler has shown to be a great playoff performer in the past, so I won't kill him too much for the shots that he was making, even though some of those mid-range jumpers kind of sus. But when you look at somebody like Bam Adebayo was making mid-range jumpers. I'm sorry, since then Bam Adebayo has been a below average mid-range shooter, and we all saw against the Bucks, Brook Lopez sagged off in the paint, and and Bam was unable to convert his mid-range jumpers. And another thing people are forgetting is that in that playoff run, they had Goran Dragic stepping up offensively. Now, Kyle Lowry is a really good player, don't get me wrong. He's even going to give you things that Dragic didn't, especially on the defensive end. But for starters, Kyle Lowry is injury prone and he's a very inconsistent offensive player. He can have nights where he gives you 25 and then the next night he can literally give you 0 points. I mean, come on now, you can't depend on that consistently, especially if you're trying to make the NBA Finals. And I know he was the second best player on the Raptors when they won the championship in 2019, but you have to remember, for starters, he was younger at that point in his career, and Kyle Lowry was not the consistent second option. There were times that Siakam stepped up, there were times that Van Vliet stepped up, and there were a lot of series that Kyle Lowry was pretty inefficient because guess what? Like I said earlier, he's an inconsistent offensive player. And him being 35 years of age, still struggling with injuries even more at this stage in his career, shooting 43% from the field, that just further proves my point. And then you look at somebody like Tyler Hero, who I like. I think he has a lot of promise in this league, but if he's the second option, assuming Jimmy Butler is balling out as the first option, do you expect me to believe that he can go toe-to-toe with guys like a Kyrie Irving, a James Harden, or a Chris Middleton even? Hell no, I do not expect that from Tyler Hero because he's just not as good as those guys. And that's not a knock on him. This is his third year in the NBA. He still has a ways to go. Maybe one day he can get to that level, but as of now, he's just not there yet. And Heat fans genuinely annoy me when they use the point of them being the first seed in the Eastern Conference as if that's going to mean something to me. Trust me, it doesn't. Just look at the Western Conference. The Utah Jazz have been consistently one of the best teams in the league over the last decade or so. And guess what? Last year, they were the first seed in the league, not only in the West, but they had the best record in the NBA. And not a single damn soul took them seriously because they are considered a regular season team, which is what the Miami Heat are, unfortunately. Because we all saw last year in the playoffs that when you put a big body that can move his feet, Jimmy Butler is not going to be able to do anything against that kind of guy. And when you look across the Eastern Conference, all of the teams have somebody that can lock up Jimmy Butler. The Bucks did it last year with Giannis on him. The Nets now have Ben Simmons, and then you look at the Sixers, they have Thibault. Hell, even when you look at teams like Cleveland or Toronto, who I would still favor Miami over, they have Evan Mobley and Pascal Siakam, who I am sure can give Jimmy Butler some problems. And I know that that's such a simplistic way to look at things. Oh, they have guys that can guard Jimmy Butler, so Jimmy's not going to do anything. But unfortunately, for a guy of Jimmy Butler's skill set and abilities, that's kind of how it is for him. Jimmy Butler is not a great three-point shooter. Hell, I'll even go as far as to say he's not a good jump shooter. And whenever someone's guarding him, it's relatively easy if you have the upper body strength and the mobility, because you can sag off of him kind of in that Westbrook Ben Simmons type shit and just wait for him to get to the paint and try to draw a foul, because he is a foul merchant also. So when you look at all of the legitimate contenders in the Eastern Conference, and that doesn't even include Boston or Chicago, they all have somebody that can legitimately lock up Jimmy Butler, and it's going to come down to who else is going to step up, and I just don't trust the rest of their supporting cast. And hell, maybe they prove me wrong. Maybe Tyler Hero goes off and plays like Kyrie Irving to Jimmy Butler's Kevin Durant. Or maybe Kyle Lowry's inconsistent ass steps it up for at least 3 straight series so they can get to the finals, which has never happened before. Or hell, maybe Bam Adebayo turns into bubble Anthony Davis and he's hitting jump shots in the mid-range or even making some threes, which, side note, has never happened before. Those are the things that have to happen for the Heat to even be able to make it out the second round, much less get to the NBA Finals. And if you believe that's going to happen, trust me, I'm willing to bet every single dollar that I have in my bank account that isn't going to happen. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that does happen, and maybe this video ages like milk, but I'm willing to bet that it won't. But to all the people that disagree with me, let me know your opinions down below in the comment section. I'm sure Heat fans are going to be angry and furious with what I had to say, so let me know what you think in the comment section. Y'all make sure to follow me on social media. The links for my Instagram and Twitter, also my Twitch, are in the description box. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Y'all stay safe and have a blessed day. Peace.